Hello and welcome back to the third episode of In the Chair with the Barber Coach. So if you're new to this and you don't know what it is we do, basically I'm a barber, and as I'm cutting hair I get to interview my customers. I'm lucky enough to say that I have some high profile customers, high profile sports superstars that I cut hair for, and I've asked would they be interested in having an interview as I cut their hair, and luckily enough they have agreed. So I'm excited to announce that in this episode we have Swansea City Legend Leon Britton in the chair on the Barber Coach TV. I hope you enjoy. So thank you very much for coming in today, mate.
No problem, mate.
I really appreciate this. What can I do for you today?
I just have the usual, mate, whatever you think.
Yeah, 1.5 on top?
1.5 on the top, yeah, that's fine.
And a skin fade?
Yeah, perfect.
Awesome, thank you very much. So Leon, you've retired from professional football now, mate.
Yep.
What are you up to in your spare time?
Not a lot, to be honest, mate. At the moment, looking after the kids in the 6 weeks holiday, which is pretty tough, but...
You want to go back to work?
Yeah, I want to go back, but no, it's... I recently finished at the club after being there for so long. When you've been in football, it's your life and you love it, but obviously you're tied into it a little bit. Whereas, leaving football at the moment now, it just gives me the options to be able to do what I want when I want with my family, my kids and my wife and stuff. So that's what I'm doing at the moment, just spending time with the family, really.
It's important that you have that time as well, isn't it? You don't get it twice, do you?
No.
Grow up so quick, like.
No, and obviously football, mate, you're away a lot with playing games and travelling and stuff like that, which has been part of my whole life. So, like I say, mate, it's nice. The kids grow up so quick, you know yourself. They grow so quick, so it's nice to be able to spend that time with them and be able to do things with them and spend that time and quality time with them. Oh,
that's fair play. So, when you recently called it a day with Swansea, you were still helping out the under-23s and things, weren't you?
Yeah.
Was it, because obviously I noticed all over like BBC Wales and all of the news and stuff that you left your post immediately and made it out like there was an issue, but there wasn't any issues though, was there?
No, it was funny actually, because people were texting me after, they were saying, is everything alright? And I think it's just the way the actual article come across, like say, left with immediate effect. I think people assumed something was up, whether it was something personal or I don't know, or whether there was a fallout at the club. But
it came across that way, to be honest.
Yeah, no, but honestly, it was nothing. All it was I spoke with the club. I spoke with Julian Winter, who's the chief executive at the club, and just said, look, I'm going to step aside if that's all right. If you don't mind, I'm going to step away from football and just spend time with my family. And But like you say, I think it's just the way it come out. I think people assumed that there was something wrong, but it was completely nothing like that. It was all amicable and it was fine.
Time to call it a day and just spend more time with the family.
Yeah, that's what it was. That is literally what it is,
isn't it? You know what I mean?
But people maybe read into that article and think there's something else, but it is literally just spending time with the family and just spending time away from football for a little bit.
Oh, that's fair enough, right? Yeah, I gotta be honest, I think this is mad that I'm getting the opportunity to cut your hair. I know it sounds like a bit of a fanboy, but I've been a Swans fan all my life, and I can't believe that the first ever Swans game I went to was in the Vetch and you were playing.
Yeah.
So basically all my lifetime of supporting Swansea, you've been playing for them until the last couple of years really. So I think it was against Leighton Orient, Vetch or something like that. Was it your first year on loan or something?
Yeah, it might be my first year on loan, 2000. I come down 2002. I come on loan from West Ham on a 6-month loan.
How old were you?
I was 20. Just turned.
Just about 15 then.
Yeah, it would have just turned 20 just before I come down.
On loan from West Ham, was it? Yeah?
On loan from West Ham. To be honest with you, I was trying to break through in West Ham's team, couldn't get in the team, weren't getting an opportunity as such. Just wanted to go out and play football anywhere, if I'm being honest, mate. And I was struggling to find a team, but luckily Brian Flynn, who was the manager at the time, mate, he gave me a call and said, look, come down for a couple of weeks trial, see how it goes. And I've got to be honest, mate, I didn't know anything about Swansea. I knew it was in Wales, but I didn't know anything about the club, really, the background of the club or anything. But come down for a 2-week trial, and then obviously he was happy, mate. He signed me on a 6-month loan to the end of the season, really, and I was buzzing, mate. I just couldn't wait. Even though at the time when I joined the team were bottom of League Two as it is now, so I joined the worst club, if you like, in the football league at the time. But
anything will do, innit?
Yeah, but honestly, mate, I didn't care. I couldn't care where I went, what the team was. I just wanted to go and play football, mate. Professional football. And
so what happened to West Ham then? How comes that didn't work out?
Do you know what, I don't know, like, obviously I joined West Ham from Arsenal. I'd done my schoolboy years at Arsenal. I was there 9 till 16. They offered me to stay on, but I just decided at the time Arsene Wenger had just come in and they were signing a lot of young players, like going into the youth team from all over across the world, and I just thought my opportunities would be tough there. So I went to West Ham thinking I'd have a better chance of breaking into the first team, but it never quite happened. It's just one of them, mate. You know, when I look back now, at the time you think you are good enough, but when I look back now, I think you probably wasn't good enough to play in the Premier League as an 18.
Wasn't the right time, was it?
No.
So you did play in the Premier League.
Yeah, I did in the end. And at the time, when I joined West Ham, Jermaine Defoe joined at the same time as me from Charlton, and he obviously ended up playing in the first team at West Ham from, I think he was maybe 17.
You started at the same age, is it?
Yeah, same age. So we you know, same year group. We both joined at the same time. But obviously, you know, he went in the first team at 17, and he's obviously. Was
he good?
He was brilliant, mate. Honestly, I went to school with him when I was 14 to 16. We went to like a football school, Lillyshaw at the time, and honestly, mate, he was different class. Like he's finishing, what you see in his career that's gone by, it was the same when he was 14, 15. He was always gonna.
So you didn't feel hard done by that he made it and he was struggling?
No, don't get me wrong. Like we were really close. We were really good mates. Still are to this day. And obviously it was hard. I was delighted for him because he was my best mate at the club, and I was delighted for him. He was in the first team. He was scoring goals, but obviously at the same time, I was a bit envious and a bit jealous because I wanted to be part of it as well. Because we both kind of went on the same journey. Then obviously he started going up, and then I kind of plateaued off a little bit, but. Mate, he deserved it. He's brilliant. He's always been brilliant. But it didn't work out for me, mate. I didn't get the opportunity. But like I say, mate, Swansea gave me the chance, mate, which is no one else wanted to.
I've got to be honest with you, right? I'm a bit ashamed to say this, but
yeah.
I remember you being the first game I ever want to watch. I think Truns was playing. I think
Tatey maybe.
Was Freestone in goals.
Roger
in goals. Tatey, I think, was there. I'm not sure if Gary was there as well, was he? Gary Monk.
Monks might have been there.
And I think we did. I'm not sure we got promoted. We get promoted the first year. Or we finished quite high up.
Yeah.
But not long after that, then we started getting promoted, didn't we?
Yeah.
And like every couple of years, you're thinking, oh, we're going up a division now. Is Leon going to struggle? Is he a bit small for it? And then you just took to it like a duck to water. And then it was Championship. You thought, oh, this is it for Leon. It's game over. And then you nailed the Championship. You end up in the Prem. You think, well, this is definitely it for Leon.
Yeah. And
you had the best stats in Europe, or
something like that. It was like the passing stats, when it was one season.
Did you feel like nervous, or did you think this was going to be it for me, or were you always confident you're gonna do all right?
Do you know what? Like I think every time you get promoted, there's always that question mark. Because I'd never played at the level above, if you like. When I come, the highest I played was League 2 when I joined. So every time you get promoted, there's always the question mark, mate. When you've not played higher up, can you cut it? People, whether it's a manager, whether it's fans, or even the player himself might question, can you do it? But
were you nervous going up a bit?
Not really. I think you'd like to believe in your ability, but I think until you get out there, mate, and you actually play the level above, if you like, you just don't know how you're going to cope. But for me, mate, I think it was probably harder for me in League 2 in terms of physicality. It was a lot more longer balls, fighting, in terms of you had to use your physical strength. Whereas as you go up the levels, especially into the Premier League, it becomes a lot more technical, which is my strength.
So that suited you more then. The higher the level you were playing, the easier it was.
I think so. I think as bad as it sounds, obviously you're playing against the best players in the world when you get to the Premier League and the best teams in the world. But the ball's on the floor. It's more your technical ability that you need, as opposed to in League 2, maybe you're trying to dominate players with your physicality and your strength, which obviously is something that I haven't got. So I think as I went through the levels, they kind of suited me, more and more. And obviously getting to the Premier League, the technical levels are very high, and I think I improved obviously as I got older, and I was able to compete and do okay in the Premier League.
There was one blip though, wasn't there, in between, where you kind of made a run at the Sheffield United for a few games.
Oh mate, we don't talk about that.
What was all that about? Because obviously that was a higher level, wasn't it? So you had a chance for a higher level then. Why didn't it work out that time?
At the time, so when I left at the time, Paulo Sousa was the manager of the Swans, and do you know what, mate? I got a feeling he didn't fancy me as a player. I played games, don't get me wrong, I played games, but there was a lot of times when he was leaving me out the team. He was like leaving me as not just out the team, but out the squad, so I couldn't even get on the bench.
Alright, I don't remember that.
Yeah, so like, I couldn't. He was making me travel, and then I'd be the one who got left in the stands, if you like the the 19th man. So I just felt like under him, he didn't really fancy me, and my future probably wasn't really suited. The club offered me a contract, but I think it was the club offering me a contract as opposed to Paulo Sousa saying give him a contract as such, like, you know.
So you'd already lost your sort of trust with him then, really?
A little bit. I just didn't feel that he valued me as a player, which is fair. Every manager's different, mate. You know, they like some players, they don't like other players. It doesn't suit them. So my contract ran out, and at the end, mate, my head was fried, and obviously Sheffield United come in, and at the time, mate, I just decided that Sheffield United was the right option for me, and that's why I went there.
It's a bit of a spin, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's mad, mate, how things work out. I went there, and the manager at the time, mate, at Sheffield United, Kevin Blackwell, he told me we was going to play like Barcelona, like Spain. I was going to be the main focus of the team with that style of football. So
that happened in Swansea, though, didn't it?
Yeah, but then he told me that Sheffield United, this is what he said, and then as soon as I got there, mate, it was completely the opposite. He just said to the defenders, just bang it up to the big man up top. And like you say, that didn't suit me, because obviously, like I just said, like in League Two or that style of football, you're not going to see the best of me. You might as well get someone who's physically a lot stronger than me and more powerful.
So it was a complete waste of time, really, was it?
It was a complete waste of time. It didn't work out. And I could see quite early on in my time at Sheffield United that, you know, they were making cutbacks on wages, on decent money there. And I think I spoke to the chairman at the time, and I just said, look, this isn't going to work. You know, I'm on decent money. You can get someone in who's going to suit the style of football and who's going to be more beneficial to your team than me. And all I said to him was that there's only one place I want to go, and I want to go back to Swansea if they'll have me back. I want to go back, and I was so lucky, mate. It could have been so easy for the club to say they don't want me back, because it was only 6 months before that I'd left.
Who was the manager when you came back?
It was Brendan Rodgers.
So they had changed then, is it?
Yeah. So it was mad, mate. So obviously I left in the summer, thinking Paolo was going to be manager for the next season at the Swans.
And that didn't suit you?
It didn't suit me. Then I signed for Sheffield United, and then I think literally within weeks, mate, Paolo had left. He'd gone to join Leicester, and then Brendan Rodgers had come in. And I was obviously still in contact with like Ashley Williams, Gary Monk, Tate, all the boys.
They were pulling the strings.
And it was like, oh my God, mate, it's so good under Brendan. We're playing this football. It's brilliant. He's a great manager. And I was thinking, like, I was thinking,
what have I done?
Yeah, what have I done? Like they were waxing lyrical about him. But like I say, mate, he was the manager, and luckily, mate, he said, look, I want you to come back and be part of the midfield. And
that's good.
Yeah.
Did he take us up in the first year, or was it 2 years?
His first year.
So you came back.
I come back in January. Obviously, we're halfway into the season. I come back in January. We were in the playoffs, mate. We was in amongst the playoffs, obviously fighting for promotion, and he obviously got us promoted, mate. We ended up obviously going through the playoffs, playing at Wembley against Reading, and getting promoted. Funny enough, mate, Sheffield United actually got relegated that year. So I left Sheffield United. They ended up going down to League One, and I ended up going up to the Prem. So how mad is it? If it didn't work out and Sheffield United told me no, you got to stay, the next season I would have been playing in League One, while Swans would have been in the Premier League. But luckily, mate, it's how it worked out.
Oh my goodness! Like, I remember the year we were promoted. I was there in Reading, but I didn't realise that it was the same year that you'd had a bit of a sabbatical in Sheffield United.
Yeah, it's meant how it worked out, mate.
And then you had 7 of the best years of your career. Premiership football, top stats. What were you like? Was it passing rate or possession?
I think it was passing accuracy. I think it was. I think that was the
highest in Europe.
Yeah, it was.
That's alright, isn't it?
Yeah, I take it, mate. I take. Look,
not a bad flex.
Don't get me wrong. Look, my passing was pretty safe, mate. It wasn't long range passing, but no, it's 7 years in the Premier League, mate. Like I say, when I joined League Two, bottom of League Two as it was, lost my first 6 games, and then we ended up having 7 years in the Premier League, winning the League Cup, playing in the Europa League, beating the biggest teams in world football, mate. You couldn't.
Serious, isn't it?
Mate, you couldn't make it up when I joined in 2002, and people were collecting money in buckets.
I was going to ask you about that. So yeah, that's true then.
Yeah.
So for one season, the fans paid your wages from spare change in buckets after the game.
Yeah, they done like a little scheme called the Battle for Britain, where they literally, mate, when I was on loan to help pay my loan wages, if you like, it was.
So the first year from West Ham with us.
Yeah. So I was on loan for the 6 months, and then they was carrying buckets, I think, outside the ground, the North Bank and whatever. and then people just had loose change or whatever, you know, anything they could give, they just chuck it in the bucket, and it would all go towards paying my wages, mate. So where you look at the club, couldn't even afford my wages as such. It needed the fans to help pay for it, and then all of a sudden we have 7 years in the Premier League, win the League Cup, play in the Europa League, beat the best teams in the world against the best players in the world. It's just
mental, isn't it?
And that was only done, I think, in 8 years. I think it was, mate. 8 years. So it was unbelievable journey. Like, it's incredible when you look back and you finish your career. When you're in it, you're so focused on it, mate. You don't.
Probably a blur, is it?
Yeah, you don't realise. You just think, oh, the next game we got this or we got that, and you're just concentrating on the next game and playing. But when you sit back now and you finish playing football, you look at it and you go, whoa. Well, we was bottom of League Two and we actually went into the Premier League for 7 years, and you think, well, it's an amazing achievement that not many teams do. There's only been a few teams over the years who've gone kind of through the league so quickly and done it.
That's a bit of a story,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
You're going to write a book?
Do you know what? I've been asked a lot over the years. There's been quite a few people who have approached me, mate, to say, you know, let's write a book. You know, your career's been great. You've been through so much for the club, and you know, as a kid growing up as a young footballer. So people have asked me. I'm not obviously gone ahead with it at the moment. I'd never say never.
Okay.
I think it's nice. I think it's more nice for the kids. You know, obviously got 4 kids. It's something that maybe is nice for the kids to look back on and be able to read as they get older, and look back at Dad's career, if you like.
So it could happen.
It could happen. I'd like to say I'd never say never, and I haven't given it much thought recently. But I have been approached, and it's something that I might do. A few of my ex-teammates have done it, so I think I might do it one day, maybe.
Watch this space then.
Yeah, 100%, mate.
Yeah, no, I'll be excited to see that book when it comes out. I'll definitely buy it, mate, 100%. But then I've experienced your journey. I've seen it. Do you know what I mean? I was there from the first game when you came on loan, and I'm cutting your hair, which is crazy. But I'll still buy your book, even though I know everything about you already.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to ask though, right? So, is it true that when we were struggling, I think it's either the last year in the Prem or the year before, that you got the movie, is it Jack to a King?
Yeah.
Took it to all the players and said, watch this is what it means to Swansea, pull your fingers out. Is that true?
Yeah, kind of. It is true, yeah, in a way, mate. What it was, we was, it was under Paul Clement was the manager, and we were just struggling, mate. We was obviously fighting relegation, and I think when players come to the football club now, and they see the training ground that we've got, the facilities, the stadium, playing in the Premier League, I think they think it's always been like that, because the players come from obviously other Premier League teams or from abroad, and they just see the football club as it is now, and I think they always think it's been like that. But obviously, as a player who's been there a long time, it was like we didn't have a training ground. We used to jump in cars, we used to go to the vetch, wait for Brian Flynn to say, right, we're training down the Morva today, we're training up the Phoenix in Town Hill, we're training at the beach, and we'd all jump in cars in convoy, not have any food, go and train, and then come back, wash your own kit, you know. And
was it really like that?
honestly, mate, we wouldn't have lunch. We'd go and have lunch all together afterwards in town somewhere.
Down the pub?
Yeah, well, yeah, it probably would be down a pump house in the marina, like a lot of the time. Like, but I think the players who joined the club and obviously in the Premier League years didn't see that, and they think it's always been, you know, a lovely training ground, great food, you know, great stadium. So I just thought, right, we're fighting relegation here. I just wanted to show them that the club's not always been in that situation. So I just put a DVD on in the morning, like in everyone's locker, if you like, and I just said to the boys, look, boys, you know, we're fighting relegation. If you got a spare hour or two tonight, just have a watch of this DVD. It just shows where the club's come from, how much hard work's gone into it, not just from players, but all the backroom staff, everyone involved in the club.
And what it means for Swansea.
And what it means, yeah, to the fans and everyone. It's just like, look, even if one of them picked it up and watched it, and the 24 of us didn't, but it made a difference to one player, and they realised. I think quite a few of them did watch it.
Well, we didn't go down, do we?
No, we didn't go down. I think things like that. Look, I think I just didn't want to go down and think I hadn't done everything I could. I thought, look, maybe something like that might just make them realise that the club's really been on its knees before, struggling, nearly going out of existence, and that so many people worked hard to get it back to where we are. So it means a lot, and a lot of jobs are on the line. I said to the boys, look, you go down from the Premier League to the Championship, a lot of jobs get cut, you know, in office jobs that people probably don't see, because you don't see the office staff. But I know the club because I've been there a long time, and I know people's jobs are on the line, and it will be alright as players because we're still at the club and we still got our contracts. But I said to the boys, like, people's jobs are on the line here. Like, they've got mortgages to pay and stuff like that. We've got a massive responsibility to give everything we've got. Look, if you go down and you give everything, that's fair enough.
You've given everything.
You've given everything, and it just weren't good enough or whatever. It didn't work out, but it's just reminding them, look, boys, like, this means so much to so many people, and it's never been like this always. And that's why I done it, mate. Really, just to try and show them and open their eyes a little bit, like.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Because we had another year in the Prem, didn't we?
Yeah, it worked out. Like I say, mate, it worked out well in the end. We ended up staying up that season, so yeah, it was all good.
What about your little management stint then? Was that not for you, or?
No, not really, mate. I think Paul Clement was the manager. He got the sack. At the time, I was player coach, so I was working under Paul as such as a coach, but also as a player. And then Paul got the sack, and then Hugh Jenkins rang me and said, "Look, will you step in as caretaker manager? I don't know how long it's going to be. Obviously, we're searching for a new manager, but you know, can you do it?" And I said, "Yeah, obviously, you've been at the club a long time. I'll help out in whatever way I can." So,
fair play.
Yeah, so obviously, mate, it was quite stressful. Like, you know, I was only in the job as such for two games. The first game was Palace at home. But it's just all the things you have to deal with, like the media. You're dealing with the chairman, Hugh Jenkins, at the time, and
Palace at home was alright, though, wasn't it? What was that?
yeah, it was 1-1. It was 1-0 down, mate. I made a sub. I brought Jordan Ayew on, and he ended up scoring the equaliser, mate. So it was down to the manager that we got the draw.
What was the second game?
The second game, mate. Unfortunately, it was Boxing Day, mate. It was away at Liverpool, and we ended up losing 5-0, mate. And I can only apologise for the fans who travelled on their Boxing Day.
They still haven't forgiven you, mate.
To go and watch us lose 5-0 at Anfield. And I think it was on the sideline, mate, when the 5th goal went in and the cop men were roaring. I was thinking, I don't think management might not be for me, like, you know. but don't get me wrong, mate. I spoke with the chairman after, you know, a day or two after, and you know, he said, look, they'd arranged Carlos Carvajal to come in, and you know, I'll go back to the playing side if you like. So it was an experience, mate, to do it. But look, as mad as it is, I can say, I know we lost 5-0, but I can say I managed in the Premier League at Anfield, which a lot of managers haven't been able to do. So that's something that I've ticked off on the list as well. But
and you stepped in when we were struggling, and you did what you had to do, innit? So
yeah, look,
fair play.
Yeah, look, I don't think it would be for me full time. It wouldn't be. But obviously, been at the club a long time, and they say, look, can you help out? Can you just hold the team together for a little bit of time, which I'll do, of course I would.
Oh, fair play, mate. So obviously your years in the Prem, quite a few years in the Prem, you've played against and with some serious players. Bit of a funny question that I try and ask a few sports people. Out of all the players you played with, who's the hardest bastard you ever played with, or against? Who would you name?
The hardest I've played with?
As in, like, you think, oh, he's on the field today, and it gives you a little bit of the shits, you know?
Do you know, well, probably the one I've played with would be, one that everyone would know would be Ashley Williams.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. Is he hard, is he?
He was a captain, like a real vocal captain. Like, you know, there was times when he come in the changing room half time or full time, and we used to have like tables, like, you know, in the middle of the changing room where they put the drinks, they put like food, fruit, whatever, and bits and pieces in there, like, you know, to have when you come in at half time. There's times when you come in and that table will be everywhere. There'd be drinks everywhere. There'd be food all over you. You know, your suit would be soaked with drinks and stuff like that, because he would just be so angry, like, you know, and he wouldn't be scared to dig someone out. Like, you know, if someone wasn't pulling their weight and maybe shirking responsibility, if you like, he wouldn't, you know, he would tell people. And there's times when he got into almost scraps, like, you know, we've had to hold him back or pull him back from, you know, trying to get at
from fellow players.
Yeah, from fellow teammates, like, you know, fellow teammates where he feels that they're not putting the work in, basically. So
the fans don't realise that. They don't see what happens in the change rooms. They don't see what people have to live with outside of the field.
No.
So you've got someone like Ashley Williams, who's the captain, but he wears his heart on his sleeve.
Yeah.
And he's not happy. You know about it.
Yeah, like you say, you know, if you give everything, you know, that's fine. But sometimes if you felt players maybe weren't giving everything for the team, he honestly, mate, he'd let you know. He wouldn't hold back. And like I say, there's been times when we've had to hold him back, and he honestly, mate, the red mist comes over and his head goes and he just can't. It's hard to control him, but yeah, he's the captain. Like you say, he cares for the team.
Did he ever have hold of someone or grab someone or get close to it?
He got close once to Scotty Sinclair.
No way.
Yeah, Scotty Sinclair. We played Everton away on a Monday night, and And Scotty didn't have his best game, if I'm being honest with you.
Which is rare.
Yeah, Scotty was brilliant for us when he scored so many goals. But he didn't have his best of games, and maybe I think he'd lost a few balls in possession. He'd give the ball away quite a few times, and we was under the cosh, like, we was under pressure. Everton were coming at us, and I think it was half time, or it might have been full time. I think it was full time. He absolutely ripped into Scotty, and Scotty gave him some back, Scotty weren't happy, so Scotty gave him some back. He felt Ash was out of order and wrong, but Ash honestly lost his head so much. He tried to get at Scotty, and then we had to hold him back. It took about 3 or 4 players holding him back. I think he couldn't believe it that Scotty was giving him some back, And then honestly, mate, he just put a towel over his head. He just crouched over on the bench, if you like, towel over his head, and he was just like, for the next 10 minutes, like, heavy breathing, just like
disbelief.
Yeah, he was just like, his head was gone,
It's kind of like, that's good to know in a way, because you kind of want that from your captain a little bit.
Yeah.
So to think that he was that passionate about it is obviously worked, because he captained Swansea for all those years in the Prem, didn't he?
Yeah.
So he kept the players in order a little bit, but I didn't realise he was that tasty.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, mate. Like certain captains are different. Certain captains maybe lead by example, if you like.
Yeah.
A bit quieter, maybe. What they do on the training ground and the way they act around the football club, and they kind of
influences players more rather than scares them. Maybe,
yeah, but some Ash is more of a vocal captain. He's a vocal captain. He'll shout. He'll lead like that with, with his heart on his sleeve. Whereas some players may be a bit quieter and will lead by example, because maybe they're not so vocal naturally, like an Ash. But
there's a place for both, isn't
Yeah,
there?
every captain's are different. But Ash is like, if you like, the old school type. He would shout and scream if players weren't pulling their weight, for sure.
Wow, that's interesting. So so we've covered the hardest bastard in the changing rooms. Out of everyone you've played against or with, who's impressed you the most? You've come off the field and you thought, wow, he was good.
What, against someone I played against?
Yeah.
Ooh, do you know what? I get asked this question, right? And it's so hard, because when you play 7 years in the Premier League against
they're all amazing, aren't they?
the best players in the world, it's hard to pinpoint one. If I had to, I'll mention a few. Luis Suarez was brilliant. I think.
Of course, I forgot about that.
When he was at Liverpool, just before he went to Barcelona, I think Barcelona signed him for I don't know what they signed him for, 100 million or whatever. But before he went to Barcelona, mate, he was incredible.
Was he hard work? Yeah.
He was just like a rash. He was so aggressive, you could see he'd come off the streets of Uruguay. He was aggressive. He'd get straight into you. He had great ability. Never scared of nothing. He would go all the time. But he was incredible finisher. He was a brilliant player. Early years in the Premier League, when I first went up, Wayne Rooney was an incredible.
Oh, of course.
Wayne Rooney was an incredible player, because he would have been about, when I played against him early in the Premier League, he must have been about 26, something like that, maybe 25, 26. So he was in his prime.
Unbelievable. Wasn't
he was incredible. Wayne Rooney, he could do everything. He could tackle, he could be physical, he could assist, he could score, he could defend. He was like the whole package.
Was he hard? I heard a rumour, not that hard matters, but I heard a rumour once that he trained with the English rugby team and he was tackling the bags harder than they were tackling the bags. Was he a tough cookie?
He was tough, mate. He was tough. You look when he went into Everton's first team, he was 16. He was like a man at 16. He was fully grown at 16, but he was tough. I remember one game, the first time I played against me, he absolutely cleaned me out, right? I know I was hurt, right? I was on the floor and I was hurt. And I was on the floor and he just looked over me. I didn't want to get up, mate, because I was hurting, but he looked over me and he kind of grabbed me to say, get up. And he put his hand down for me to grab his hand. So I grabbed his hand and he lifted me up. I didn't want to get up, mate, but I was like...
Didn't have a choice.
I didn't have a choice. He's like, Wayne Rooney's over me, he's put his hand down, he's like, get up now, and I was like, I was there. But he like say, mate, he like say the complete package. He could mix it in terms of being physical, being hard, if you like, and obviously technically he was incredible as well.
Oh, that's impressive. Any more? One more.
Who would I say, mate? One more. Do you know what? Someone who plays for Wales, Gareth Bale.
Oh, of course.
Gareth Bale, again, before he went to Real Madrid. He was when you're talking about athletes and pace and power, I think Gareth Bale was incredible. You play against players who are quick, over like 10, 15 yards, sharp if you like, explosive. But Gareth Bale could like keep that pace up for 60, 70 yards. Like, you know, he was an incredible athlete. Obviously, look, he had a wonder of a left foot as well. He had, you know, a great ability. Scored some incredible goals with his left foot. But it was just his athleticism, his pace, and his power, and his drive. How he could run with the ball was. That's when you think, wow, this is the Premier League. This is the highest level, because these lads, you know, are so powerful, so quick, and he was the epitome of that. Like, you know, before he went to Real Madrid, he just had a, you know, incredible couple of years.
Let's hope he finds those boots when he plays against England in the World Cup, mate, doesn't he?
Steady on, mate. For the other games, yeah, I think it's Iran and USA, but not England, mate. But
well, unfortunately, I've finished your haircut quite quickly on, you know, because you don't have as much as you used to.
Come on, mate. Nice and quick, mate.
Sorry, pal. So I'll start rounding the interview up now. So what I normally like to ask is what's your most memorable moment in your career that you'll always cherish?
I'd probably say there's probably, if I could say two, I think it's two different ones. One was my debut in professional football, which was for the Swans away at Exeter. But honestly, it was like, you work all your life, you know, from when I started playing football as an 8-year-old, playing in the park with my mates and playing for your local team, if you like. All my career, I wanted to be a professional footballer.
Yeah.
And even though I signed a professional contract at 17, I was classed as a professional. I never classed myself as a professional footballer until I played in the Football League.
Okay.
So then when I made my debut away at Exeter for the Swans, it was like, wow, I am a professional footballer, and no one can take that away from me. I've played in the Football League, and I am a professional. So that one was like,
fulfilled your dream.
Yeah. All that, you know, from 8 years old to I was 20, so 12 years of all that hard work. It was like you fulfilled the dream. You'd become a professional footballer. So that one obviously stands out, and then the other one would probably be the playoff final for the Swans at Reading. You know, the Championship playoff final, winning that game 4-2, getting promoted to the Premier League in front of 90,000 fans at Wembley.
I was there.
Yeah, was you there? Well, he was one of 40. I think it's like 40,000 Swansea fans. So to do it with a club from League Two all the way through, with like teammates who I've been playing with for many years, in front of 40,000 Swansea fans at Wembley, iconic stadium, to get to the Premier League, the pinnacle. That was an incredible moment. Like, doing that at Wembley really was an incredible moment. So them two probably stand out as the most memorable moments in my career. Completely different levels, with all due respect. Exeter on a December, in a wet December, and Wembley in front of 90,000 fans getting to the Premier League. So they're kind of different ends of the scale, if you like, but equally they mean just as much to me.
Oh wow, mate. Goodness me. Okay, and then just to round it up, if you had to give any advice to any up-and-coming football stars, or someone else's dream to become a professional football player, we know a little bit of luck is involved, but if you could give someone some advice on what they could do to kind of put things in place for an opportunity to play at a higher level, what would you say?
I would just say, look, give everything, work hard every day, mate. I think, be dedicated to the sport. Just don't have no regrets. I think, if you don't make it, don't let it be through not working hard enough. I think just give everything you got. Also enjoy it as well. I think what gets lost a little bit, I think we all play sport and we do things like that because we love doing it. So I think have that enjoyment factor, but also just give everything you got. And knockbacks will happen. We all suffer them. You speak to probably any sportsman or any sports person in any field. They'll say they've had knockbacks along the way. So it's just about don't having that disappointment. Go again, keep believing, keep working hard. And if you do that, like I say, you need that little bit of luck along the way. But I always think you make your own luck, and if you work hard enough, hopefully you get the rewards in the end.
Well, someone actually said to me once, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And I think there's a bit of truth in that, isn't there?
I think there's truth in that as well, mate. I think it's funny you say that, because my youth team coach at West Ham, he used to say the same. Said the harder you work, the luckier you get, and I do think it is that. I do think it is that, mate. But just give everything.
Must have worked for you, mate.
Yeah, no, it turned out all right, mate. I worked hard, and I've been fortunate. I had a great career in the end, from from where it started to where it finished was a great journey, and you know, I'm very lucky.
No regrets?
No regrets, mate. Never.
Oh, fair play, mate. Well, thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for your story and sharing a bit about yourself. What do you think about the trim? Oh, come on now.
That's right, mate. It's one of your better ones for once.
Leon, thank you very much, mate.
No problem, mate.
Thank you for coming in.
Top man. Cheers, mate.
Take care.
Cheers, mate.
Wow, guys, I don't know about you, but being a Swansea City fan, I really enjoyed that interview. So thank you very much, Leon, for coming on. Guys, if you like what we're doing here, this series of In the Chair with the Barber Coach, just cutting hair and chatting a bit about our customers' lives, then please like and subscribe. Please share this to your friends. I'm really enjoying doing this. We've got a few other people lined up. We're going to get them in a chair in the near future. In the next couple of weeks, there'll be a few more episodes coming out. So I hope you're enjoying it. I'm enjoying it, and I'll see you guys again soon.